What happens when Americans really live free? Jack Burke visited Slab City in California for Dispatch, and then he read his story in front of a live audience at our independent magazine night at the St. Bride Foundation.
This is about a place called Slab City. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. It's kind of like a bit notorious. It's this sort of weird community in the desert in Southern California. And I was interested in its mythology and whether it kind of held up to what everyone says it is. So without further ado, everyone here is insane, says a man who introduces himself as Wizard. He is holding a staff and gestures expansively to the open desert around us. A long white beard falls over a t-shirt that reads, "I support sex workers." Wizard, in his late 70s, has lived in Slab City for close to 30 years. He describes himself as an amateur sociologist, which is a polite way of saying that he has spent decades watching broken people arrive and then try, and normally fail, to knit themselves back together. Slab City is often described as the last free place in America. In reality, it's a collection of semi-permanent camps squatting on federal land in Imperial County, Southern California. There is no running water, no electricity, no taxes, or any government infrastructure. RVs sit alongside homes hammered together from reclaimed wood and corrugated metal. On the outskirts, tents sag and tear in the desert wind. It is a hulking, wobbling mirage of canvas, rust, and dust, shimmering in the desert heat that soars above 50 degrees centigrade. Slab City is a mythic place, the subject of endless, breathless documentaries and photo essays. Usually it's framed as some sort of anarchic utopia, a frontier fantasy played out in real time. But how does that fantasy play out in reality? Today, depending on the season, anywhere from a few hundred to a few thousand people live in Slab City, and few would describe it as a utopia. Drugs are everywhere, crime exists, if unevenly enforced. The heat is punishing and the living conditions are brutal. People who have slipped through the cracks of American life arrive carrying trauma, addiction, and paranoia, and the desert has a way of amplifying it all. If Slab City really is the last free place in America, then what does that say about the rest of the country? If anyone's to blame for Slab City, it's the US military. During the Second World War, American strategists believed that this stretch of hot, arid desert 50 miles north of the Mexican border would be the perfect place to prepare troops for a potential North African campaign. By 1942, Camp Robert H. Dunlap contained dozens of buildings, a swimming pool, and most importantly, a lab to test how concrete would survive in extreme desert conditions. It survived very well indeed. When the camp was eventually decommissioned in 1959, the land was returned to the state of California. Its buildings were dismantled and equipment was hauled away, but nobody could be bothered to do anything about the enormous concrete slabs. So they were left behind, along with a few miles of unexploded ordnance. Surrounded by mountains that are still used today for Air Force target practice, it doesn't exactly scream summer getaway. But free land is free land, and for some people that was enough. By the 1980s, Slab City had become a seasonal migration point, with a few hundred people settling year-round, and thousands more passing through during the winter. They gave themselves a name, Slabbies. Everyone else was normies. It's just not inventive at all. I found it really funny. To reach Slab City, you take Highway 11 south from LA, a single track that skirts around the edge of the Salton Sea. The sea from which that gets its name was immaculately conceived when a nearby dam exploded in 1905, causing the Colorado River to flood the barren salt plains. As the baking sun has concentrated its salinity over the years, fish have begun dying in waves. The smell of their rotting bodies still perfumes the air. The first thing you notice when you stumble across the outskirts of Slab City is Salvation Mountain, its most famous site, a huge artificial Technicolor hill made from adobe and donated paint and emblazoned with simple evangelical all-caps messages, "God is love." It is the work of Leonard Knight, an evangelical drifter, an OG Slabby, who spent decades building the monument and sleeping in a truck at the base, refusing money and help. He died in 2014. Today, the mound is besieged by day visitors. As I park alongside hybrid plugins with number plates from all over the US, a volunteer hands me a flyer. Would I like to make a donation to the government-registered charity that supports Knight's legacy? It is the first chink in the armour of Slab City's libertarian myth. She tells me a lot of visitors come from Asia. Apparently there's a model of the mountain in a museum in Japan. Tour buses arrive, people pose for photographs, and then they leave. Most people turn around here, the volunteer explains. They tick Slab City off without ever seeing it. If you carry on beyond Salvation Mountain, Slab City's dwellings come into view. Signs line the dirt track, no entry, fuck off normies. On the edge of the settlements, Dot's camp rises out of the sand like a child's imagination left unattended. Salvaged art is hammered into the sand, and a 50-year-old greyhound bus, silver skin dulled to the colour of old cutlery, leans permanently at an angle, stuffed full of old clothes, costumes and fabrics. Dot, a spry, early 50s woman with a desert tan and cropped blonde hair, is already halfway through a tour. A handful of intrepid tourists are the oxygen that keeps part of Slab City alive now. Two Midwesterners in jorts waddle behind her, gawping and pointing. Later, Dot tells me about the two kinds of people who live in Slab City. There are the older residents who have been here for decades, and those that see themselves more as stewards than squatters, They organise cleanups and mediate disputes. They believe in Slab City as a place with values, even if they are mostly unwritten. And then there are the wreckheads, the dreadlocked 20-somethings who see Slab City as a place to escape and party. Muzzle-toff Monday, they call it, Dot groans, the day of the week when they all go wild. Fortunately, it's Saturday when I visit, which, Dot tells me with glee, means the weekly open mic night at the range. The desert is pitch black by the time I reach the range, right in the heart of Slab City. A dozen or so cars are parked in front of the venue. A stage cobbled together from pallets and scrap metal glows under the strings of coloured bulbs. Our MC tonight, as it is every night, is Builder Bill. He is a local legend. He's lived here for 25 years and he's now 77. He is a desert Father Christmas, bushy beard, big belly, suspenders. He staggers up on stage, introducing one unhinged act after another, taking nips from a hip flask between announcements. "All right, you beautiful degenerates," he gargles into the microphone. Just as Dot promised, there's a definite split. An older, hippie-ish crowd sits to one side, relishing their one social function of the week. Opposite is a constellation of meth heads and a group in their 20s. "I don't abuse drugs," one gloats. "I treat them well." Mystery pipes are passed around. For the older contingent, there's also a burger stand. And standing in line is Steve, a mid-50s man double-fisting cans of Budweiser. "South Dakota," he says, lifting one can in half salute. "Been coming here 10 years. I ask how he finds it. "If you're steady, you're fine," he replies. "If you ain't, this place will find that out real quick. Drugs are a serious problem, and it tends to attract a certain kind of person. A lot of them have serious issues." "And what of disputes between residents?" "Oh, it's self-policing," Steve replies. "Always has been. We've got an unofficial sheriff. We call him Slab Justice." Slab Justice, he explains, is simple. If someone behaves badly, first they get the soft touch. They're told to leave, driven to Nyland, and dumped at the crossroads. If they don't go, their camp soon goes up in flames. I'm told this happens at least once a month. When I ask Steve what kind of behaviour earns a burnout, he doesn't hesitate. "Paedophiles," he says. "They get out or they die." Despite the off-grid mythology, Slab City is not disconnected. There is 5G. The streets are partially navigable on Google Maps. Amazon delivers. Yeah, I know, it's fucking wild. And there are a number of well-stocked Facebook groups where people trade supplies, warn about stolen gear, flag trouble, or announce when someone's gone missing. There are also nervous posts from the lonely and the curious, tentatively inquiring as to whether Slab City is the place for them. If they arrive, the first stop is normally Slab City's gift shop, slightly outside the main grid. For sale are Slab City t-shirts, trinkets, stickers, all made by local artists. $10 will get you, as it got me, and I've actually got it on the fucking table out there, a hand-stamped Slab City dog tag. The shop's owner is Jimmy Austin James, who has lived in the Slabs for 18 years. Once upon a time, Jimmy was a travelling musician from Arizona, playing in bars all over the West. He lived and toured in a yellow school bus. Then one day, the bus broke down halfway up the Flagstaff Mountains. Police told him he had 2 hours to move. He got a tow to Slab City and has been here ever since. He tries to keep his distance from the chaos. "The drugs, man," he says, "it's gotten worse. Some dealers live in Slab City year-round, embedded in the camps. Others arrive seasonally, following the same winter migration as the snowbirds. Mexico is only half an hour's drive away, and the cartels supply the area and often use it to store drugs." On a drive one morning, Jimmy and I passed burned-out shells of camps on the fringes of Slab City. He repeats what Steve told me about Slab Justice. "People stay up for days out here," he says, shaking his head. 3 days, sometimes more. No sleep, just meth and gear and whatever else someone else has handed them that week. After a while, they don't know what's real anymore. They think someone's stolen from them, and from there, the escalation is almost procedural. Pretty soon, you've got 3 or 4 camps burned out over nothing. We drive past the Church of Enlightenment, a low, ramshackle compound stitched together from scrap wood, tarpaulin, and hay bales. A skeletal wooden tower rises from the centre. It should be called the Church of Fentanyl, Jimmy says wearily. Now it's an open-air drug market for hard drugs, and Jimmy doesn't want to stop. Are people religious here, I ask. Some are, he replies, others pretend to be. Every week, this is so funny. Every few weeks, the do-gooder God squad shows up trying to make a difference. They repeat the same bits of scripture, the meth heads nod along, take their hot dogs, and carry on and sell them. We continue driving past the imaginary border where I had assumed Slab City ended. There is plastic everywhere, oceans of it, dumped in the desert because there's no municipal waste system to pick it up. We pass the shell of a huge mobile home, and Jimmy tells me someone died there last night. An accidental overdose. Nearby, a woman stands too close to a burn barrel, flames licking. I mention the phrase people always reach for, the last free place in America. Jimmy shakes his head. He says he's tired of it, so I ask why he stays. Jimmy shrugs. I do still like it here, he says. I found a rhythm. Besides, where the hell else would I go? Thank you.